all dance while we're waiting for the Saturday morning live cast. Morning, Betsy Co. Good morning, Greg Clark.
Good morning, Max Golden.
How are you guys today? Good?
You're fine.
It's a little
Yeah, if
snowy
anybody
out.
needs snow, I can send you some.
It's okay. Thanks. We're
Just
good.
saying. There's quite a bit of it outside.
Oh,
Go ahead, Greg. Show us your yard.
Who, me?
Oh, wow.
There's some snow.
There's some snow.
Yeah.
There's some snow.
Mhm.
Now, I think we're getting more snow than Greg because we're not supposed to get the rain, the freezing rain. He had freezing rain. Although I did look out in the backyard and there's a big limb down on our shed. I wish they had just squished it.
Oh. Didn't they just rebuild that after a storm last year?
No. We had a grape trellis that was like 30 by 50 and it got like a giant stepped on it last year. And then we rebuilt that. But now the shed looks like it might. And that's okay. Good morning. Welcome to Weather is Us.
Weather is Us. That's right.
By WikiTree. No. Lots of people in here early this morning, but guess who was the earliest?
Ooh.
I was shocked. I was shocked. I fell over. But D-Car was the second person in here this morning. Good morning from Augusta, Georgia. Let's see. And I have a question that I want to ask everybody in a minute. But first, let's say hey to everybody. Jory Jordan's here. Let's see. Lynette Jester's here. She was telling me about some ancient DNA stuff they came out with just this morning. Very exciting talk. You can find it in the information in the chat. Simon Foster, Chile South Wells. Let's see. Yoke is here. Lisa Gervais is here. Sandy Paddock. She says she has a very, very funny feeling that there might be an Appalachian-centric roundup coming up. Biscuits. Hey, Az, thank you so much for being here. I don't know if you guys know this, but while the three of us are yah-yakking, Az answers questions and posts some of the links for us to be able to post it in the live cast. As we so appreciate you.
Yes.
Hey, Murray Maloney. He says, good morning. Don't know where he is, but he needs John Tyner. We were talking about you before the live cast started. All good. Promise. Susie Carter's here from Minnesota, below zero wind chill, but not barely covering ground. No complaints about the snow. That's okay. My driveway is clear in front of my vehicle, but the rest of the driveway is covered in deep snow. So nobody's going anywhere but me today, if I went somewhere. Let's see. Biscuits, John Tyner says. Let's see. Oliver Stegan's here. How we got here, Genealogy, is trying to cheat me, trying to bribe me with blueberry biscuits. How dare you?
Oh, two birds and one stone.
Come in late, Brian. You're usually the first one here. Let's see. Oliver Stegan, did I say? Let's see. Did I mention Christine Miller, Judy Stutz? Trying to scroll down. Vicky Blanco is here. Christine Miller's here. Victor is here. Victor Rose. We should have some good elevator music playing while I'm trying. Audrey Martin is here. Dave Mellon the first is here.
Hillary from Wales is here.
Hillary from North Wales. So we have Wales covered. North and South.
We do.
We could find some East and West Wales. That would. Let's see. Is that Hillary Day Mellon first? Day Mellon the first? Is that Hillary?
No, that's a different person.
Oh, so we got two from North Wales. Let's see. Oh, John, your rock was awesome, Betsy Co. How about that?
Oh, thank you.
Patricia Jackson is here. Margaret Toll, Denise Jarrett. Hey, Denise. Let's see. Mary Sleppy. Hey, Mary. Ferriello is here. Donna Gerber. Oh, goodness gracious, you people. Mellis is here. Eric Weddington. Hey, Eric. Debbie Root. I got to, let's see. Marie Carpenter. Kathy Nava, tree climber. Have I got everybody? Goodness gracious.
Wow.
I'm going to have to stop reading names.
It's a full. Janet, did you say?
I love it.
Janet
Isles. Hey, Janet. Let's see. And that's it. That's Kathy it so Nava. Far. So If I've missed you, hey. And if you're watching this later on, please enjoy. We love that you watch us later on. If you can't come on Saturday morning here in the eastern part of the northern hemisphere, that's okay. Eastern part of the North American continent in the north.
That's right.
Make that right, or people they'll say, wait, Mags. And we also want you to give us some upvotes. We love the love. That's a good thing. I think Mags needs a romper room mirror.
Oh, yes.
Say hi to Chris. Liz. Lisa, you were late. Brian, you were late. I have a question for you people. And this is from, let's see, do I still have it? I have a question. What is this? Have you ever seen this? It's a gravestones in a cemetery here in Ontario that holds people that are a part of the McCoy family. And the reason I'm looking at this cemetery is that there are two men named John McCoy who have very similar birth dates, who lived pretty close together, about 20 kilometers apart or 20 miles apart. And one is buried in this cemetery and one is buried in another cemetery. But are they really the different people, or are they the same people? That's the question I'm trying to find out. But what I'm asking you is, in this cemetery, I found this strange organization of tombstones. And it appears that there are baby graves in the middle. And there's a monument here on this obelisk, but I can't read what the obelisk says. It appears that all of the tombstones are facing out, except for the baby tombstones. And what is this? What is this? Anybody got any ideas?
Well, Brian says that he's seen similar things.
And Mary Sleppy says a flood that moved the stones and they got placed in a tight group. That's a good idea.
But they're so aligned. They're precisely in order.
Well, obviously they've been moved. Obviously, there's no way there's caskets in this. See, no clue unless the gravestone were moved from another cemetery and not the people. And I need to look. I need to study the cemetery and check and see if there were graves. Somebody suggested, I have this up on my Facebook page group. Johnstown, Pennsylvania has this. Well, this is Johnstown, Ontario.
No way.
That is a pretty crazy coincidence.
That is wild.
I don't know. If you think about it, if you want to check it out, there's the link. Let's put that up so people can see the link. And you can let me know what you think. Greg is completely covered up by the sticker, but that's okay.
That's okay. I can wave. There we go.
You can be Kilroy. Climb up to the top of the WikiTree thing and be Kilroy. All right. So if you think you can figure that out, that would be nice to know. It's just a fun thing. It doesn't have anything. Well, it may have something to do with the McCoys. McCoys is one of my surnames. And I'm wondering if these people are related to me. So I'd like to get some DNA. I'm not going to dig up anybody's graves, though. But I don't know if there are any McCoys in this particular arrangement. And it's not that far from me. It's about an hour away. So I might be able to go down there and check it out even closer. All right. So I'm going to go on. What are we supposed to be talking about here, right? The question of the week, which is fun. The question of the week was, which of your ancestors migrated the farthest? Betsy, how far was your furthest?
Well, that would have to be my dad, who went from Taiwan to New Jersey initially. Yeah.
Greg, what about you?
France would have been the farthest.
France. Well, we have a lot of good answers. So I'm going to click in and look at a bunch of these real quick. We'll come back to that one. Great picture of Charles Wooten.
Nice.
Bloxwich, Staffordshire, England. And this is from M. Ross. Great picture of the guy, and he came from Bloxwich, Staffordshire, England. She has a good story here. She has a 16,985.64 kilometers. I don't know how you can figure that out, because I was trying to do some of these by doing Google Maps.
Oh, yeah.
And it wouldn't do it because you couldn't drive.
Oh, Yes.
You can't get directions. So I did a Google search and I got the total, which is the straight line, like as the crow flies distance. So that's interesting. But that's from Dunedin City to Otago, New Zealand. That's a pretty far one. Just have to say. Let's see. And the next one I believe is, okay, somebody that's here in the chat put the earworm in my head. I would walk 5. Anyway, yeah, it's a great song. It's a great song. I love it. Thank you, Chris Ferriello.
Of course.
His Italians were the furthest, bit farther away than say France, Canada, or England. Traveling from Naples, my 4 grandparents, great grandparents on my dad's side, Vincenzo Ferriolo, Maria Tedesco, Giuseppe Carabs, Clementina Forgione. Is that right? Come on, John, tell me I'm wrong. So Chris has a really good answer. He's got all of the interesting information, and he's got all the places they stopped along the way, and he's got it all added up as to about 4,698 or 4,857. That's pretty good. It's pretty good. We'll jump over to the next one. Let's see. Thanks for the earworm. Let's see. I think I had this set up to be something different. Oh, all of my grandparents were born in New Zealand, but they came from Scotland or Ireland. So a lot of answers like that. John Fay, 1648 from England to the USA. Now I have a second part of this question. Is do we give higher points to the family who traveled the earliest? Ooh. So people who came over to Jamestown, or even like the people who traveled to the Roanoke colony, 1603, 15, whatever the dates were for the Roanoke, do they get better points on this? Or
because the journey was that much more difficult.
Yeah.
And take longer too.
Yeah. Like 13 weeks to make the crossing. That's a long time. France and England to Ireland. And let's see, the last one on the list was, okay, thank you, Frank O'Connor, for this incredible novella. And he also has Arrowtown, Central Otago. So you have the same kind of place name as the other question of the week person. You might want to check them out. Because you might go to that and check out the place. Is there a place study on that, a one place study as that they could check out? And I'm sorry, but the winner this week is going to be this one from Darren Kellett.
Darren,
nice. My great grandfather and his brother went from St. Petersburg, Russia, to New Zealand. That is the furthest one that I calculated. Is in the straight line way that you have to calculate it. That was the furthest one, so I'm going to vote this one up.
Wow.
I'm hesitating to vote the 1648 one up because although it may not have been the furthest in miles, but it was the one with the most hardships.
Do you remember how search engines for travel used to have, cost, distance, and then agony factor?
No, I never knew that.
There was it's no longer exists, but there was a site called Hipmunk, not Chipmunk, Hipmunk. And they had an agony factor.
Somebody is asking me about Chris Ferriello's answer. Let me go back to it. The song "I Would Walk 5,000 Miles," which I don't think I can allow play for more than just a couple. Oh wait, Doctor.
Oh, he's got the Doctor Who version. Yes, this is great.
So I can't play any more than that, or we step on some copyright issues. So there you go. It's I would walk 5,000 miles. So
isn't it 500 miles?
500 miles. I would walk 5,000 miles.
Wow.
I don't know about other people.
That would take a long, long time.
So that is our question of the week. And we have an additional, I have a question about that weird arrangement of tombstones. So thank you very much. My Mechamoils appreciate all of the input you guys could give me. And I am putting a stop at that cemetery on my next list because it's so close. Thank you.
Great. Well, we are hoping for a special guest to join us this morning. Eowyn is supposed to be joining us, and she's going to tell us all about this new challenge for the year, the connection combat. But she is having some connection problems, so she's combating her Wi-Fi to get onto the live cast.
I've seen that from several people in the chat this morning, that there were issues with connectivity. There's massive storm rolling through the U.S. and we hope everybody's safe and out of the water or out of the snow and safe and warm.
And warm.
That includes Eowyn.
Yes,
way back at the very beginning of where the storm was.
That's right. So the connection combat is actually, do you want to give it a brief intro, Betsy, before I start talking about the profiles?
Sure.
Or should we just wait for Eowyn to come?
Yeah, we could. Okay. Let's be optimistic that she'll get here. And if not, I can.
Okay, then. Great. I mean, I could talk about it, but anyway, the idea, the profiles of the week fit in with the theme of the connection combat. And it started off with connecting to Paul Revere, which still is technically open till January 15th. And I was trying I was following through, and I was being a good doobie, making sure that, if the connection was from father, from a profile to their father, that I actually had a birth record or something like that. And
being a good what?
Doobie.
I love it.
I think it might be a romper room term. I don't know.
It means is like a romper room term.
Doobie?
I knew exactly what you meant.
Is that where the Doobie brothers got their name?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It means you're being a good little boy.
I watched the romper room like a crazy woman back in the days, and I don't remember that.
Okay, well,
maybe I was too young.
See how many people in the chat know what I mean. But anyways, but the latest one, it was so popular that it's gone from every 2 weeks to every single week. And so the latest one is the Hatfield and McCoys, and they're given two people, which are the two lead profiles for this week. And the challenge is to find out which one you're most closely related to, and then you follow the path and verify the connection between each step of the way, so that it's actually a validated path.
Yeah, and there's actually a nice little checklist as you look at each profile, like get rid of, we're calling them weevils, get rid of GEDCOM junk, get rid of or fill in birth dates and places, and put in a bio of some sort. Yeah.
So because the profiles of the week were all chosen about famous feuds, I thought that when we talk about the profiles today, we'll have our own little roundup combat. And so I have created a little spreadsheet here, and I might need to zoom in a little bit more so you can see. Let's see, I'm making this nice and large so you can read it. I guess I'm gonna end up covering up more than I wanted to.
How fun!
I know.
So, so here we are. This is how we are gonna have the profiles face off against each other. So first thing, the first pair is the Hatfields and the McCoys. So if you're not familiar with them, I mean, the name Hatfield versus McCoy is sort of synonymous with the word feud. And you can read through the profiles. These are the two patriarchs of the family. The Hatfields came out a little bit better in that more of them survived, and it's actually not a funny story. I mean, it's very serious. There's lots of people were killed, except in the Hatfield, the very first feud, which wasn't directly connected with the McCoys. I got to say, was funny because it started off with one of the right here. Let me zoom in on this one here. One Hatfield took someone else to court. Oh my goodness! Now I've lost McCoy. There we go. The charge was George Hatfield was in a case against Flem Stafford because Flem Stafford maligned his name, saying that George was having an illicit love affair with his mare.
No.
Yes, and had fathered several foals by his equine lover.
No.
Oh my God.
I apologize to everybody that's watching now or later. Oh my God.
Isn't that ridiculous? I mean, that's hilarious. Yeah, wow. Just wow. Then it gets much more serious because then it talks about actual, what happened during the feuds. And his brother was killed by a bunch of McCoys, who were then, of course, killed by the McCoy brothers, who killed the Hatfield brother. McCoy's sons were killed by the Hatfield brother, but then killed, and so on and so forth. And eventually, Randolph just had to leave the area, and he just went to. He lost practically everyone in his family, and he just ended his life in grief, running a ferry. So it's a very tragic tale, really. But that's the history behind the profiles, and you can read them because they're very well done, and there's lots of meat there. So if you're interested, and you can read all about that. But we are going to play roundup combat. So the profiles get a point if you're depending on who you're closer. So Mags, who's closer to you, Hatfield or McCoy?
13 Hatfield. 14 Clanton, 15 Burr.
Okay, well, we're going to do it one pair at a time.
Okay.
Okay, and Betsy, which one's closer to you? Hatfield or McCoy?
Hang on, I'm getting there. Okay. So let's see. 18 to McCoy and 20. So yeah, McCoy is closer.
McCoy. Okay. Mm-hmm. And for me, McCoy is closer to me, so McCoy gets a point there. Now they get cousin bonus points if you're cousins to them. So I'm a cousin to both of them, so they're getting a point for each for me. Mags, are they cousins?
I gotta look and see. So William Hatfield is 14th cousin 4 times removed.
Okay. I didn't say they had to be close cousins. I just said they had to be WikiTree cousins. And while Betsy and Megs are figuring out where they're cousins, I want people in the chat to write either Hatfield or McCoy, depending on which one is closer to you, because that's what this line 7 is, closer to the YouTube viewers. So
people have already started. Mary Bushholtz has McCoy, as says McCoy.
Okay. Can I get one of you to be the comment totaler for those points?
You got it, Betsy?
Sure. I'll just tell you I get a point because Randolph and I are 14th cousins 5 times removed.
Okay, so you're cousins with McCoy, but not with Randolph? Or not with
I don't know if I'm a cousin with Randolph.
Hatfield.
Wait, Randolph McCoy, you mean the Hatfield one?
Yeah, the Hatfield one, yeah.
Oh, let's see.
Ooh, 13 times 4 times removed.
Are you cousins you're cousins with both, right, Megs?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm cousins with both as well.
Biscuit.
Okay. Biscuits, yeah. Okay. They get
what? And Greg, just to be clear, what am I doing in the chat?
Okay, so in the chat, people are supposed to write either Hatfield or McCoy, depending on which one of those two they're closer to.
Mm-hmm. So you need to change mine to I'm closer to the McCoys than I am to the Hatfields.
Well, I already got you.
Yeah, you're not a YouTube. This is just YouTube viewers, right?
Just YouTube viewers, yeah.
So I'm just like a point each for Hatfield or McCoy.
That's right.
Gotcha.
Right. Okay. So then they get a point if they have birth, marriage dates, and a point for birth, marriage date locations. And so Hatfield here does have a date and location for both of those, and a date and location for his. So he gets full 6 points. And let's check out this profile. Date and location, and date and location. Do we get full dates for just a year? Full points for just a year? Probably, eh?
It's your game, man.
There, let's go. Go for it. Okay. Number of siblings. Okay. There's 11 in this family. I'm just going to go with the number here. Technically, there's 10 siblings plus yourself, but I'm just going to write down 11 because it's easier. 13
Eric Weddington's great grandmother of William. It says grandmother of William Anderson Hatfield was Martha Weddington, so he has a dog in this fight.
Nice. Okay, number of images uploaded. Let's see. There are 8 images for Hatfield. And how many images here? 9 images for McCoy. Ooh, McCoy's slipping ahead. Now, number of images embedded in the bio to make it look pretty. Now, McCoy doesn't have any images in his bio. He just has the images along the side. But Hatfield, I do recall there was some there. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 images. 5. Long bio. Okay, 5 images embedded in his bio. And the number of stickers. Wow. 1, 2, 3 stickers. One, 2, 3, 4 stickers for McCoy. And we're going to count sources? Sure. 58 sources for Hatfield. And only 11 count inline sources for McCoy. So the winner in the profile face-off, Hatfield versus McCoy, 95-37, the Hatfields win. Oh, wait a second. I didn't count. What was the YouTube?
So there are McCoy's win handily with 11. 11.
Okay.
And Hatfield's only 3.
3. Wow.
Yep.
They're still going.
Okay, let's move on to the next combat, and that is Caroline Webster Aster versus Elva Erskine Sterling / Vanderbilt. So these are two ladies, granddames, matriarchs, I don't know what you want to call it, in the Gilded Age, New York City time. And if you've watched the new show, The Gilded Age, Mrs. Aster takes place in this. I'm not sure if Mrs. Vanderbilt is in there or if one of the characters is based on Mrs. Vanderbilt. But basically, it's the old money versus new money. So Caroline Aster was a prominent New York socialite who led the 400, whatever that was. And she was often referred to as the Mrs. Aster. And then Elva Erskine Sterling Belmont was born daughter of Murray Forbes Smith and Phoebe DeHess Smith in Mobile, Alabama. Married first to William Vanderbilt, but then actually divorced him, which was unusual back then. But out of her divorce settlement, she received a settlement in excess of $10 million in 1895. That's a ridiculous amount of money. And several estates. And she owned the Marble House herself, which was a house that was built for them. And then she eventually retired to France. So looking at I think we're going to simplify this because we'll stop at the number of siblings and children for this one. Okay, so in the chat, put down whether you're closer to the Asters or to the Vanderbilt, Elva Sterling Erskine Smith. And for me, I am closer to Vanderbilt by 1, and I'm a cousin of both. Megs? Where do you? Can't hear you.
Sorry, I'm a cousin of Alva Erskine Sterling Belmont,
okay.
14th cousin. But the other lady, Aster, I'm not a cousin, but I'm 16 from her.
So she's closer to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Sure. And I have a similar thing. I am closer to Mrs. Aster.
Okay.
But I am not related to her. I am an 18th cousin twice removed with Alva.
And if it's a tie, if we're both 16, so does the cousin win?
Oh, if it's a tie, I was just going to put zeros in that.
Oh, well, in my case, it's not a tie, but
yeah, I'm a tie.
Oh, you were tie.
They're both 16, but Alva is a cousin.
Oh, the both. Okay, so I'm going to put 0 then. Or I mean, we could give him. I can give 1-1, but we'll give you 1-1.
Not worthy.
Okay, YouTube view. People are voting there. Okay. Okay, birth dates. Birth dates and locations, birth, death dates, and marriages. So they get 6 points. Let's see this profile. Gets dates and locations. 6 points there. Number of siblings. 5 siblings for one, and 8 siblings for the other. And number of children, 3 children, or 3 profiles for children. 1 and 5 profiles for children on this one. Okay. And how are the YouTube?
I'm almost there.
Okay, no problem.
Yep. And and okay. So this is closer. But Alva had 6.
Okay.
Mrs. Aster had 5. So
okay. And the Vanderbilts win. The new money wins this comp. Okay, the next one is the famous Aaron Burr versus Alexander Hamilton feud. And I think we've talked about both of these people before on the LiveCast. Aaron Burr, of course, was U.S. Vice President. He was after Thomas Jefferson, and then he was a senator as well. But of course, the reason they're both here is because they're famous for the duel in which Aaron Burr killed Alexander Hamilton. Alexander Hamilton himself was a father, not father of Confederation. What's the American term for that? A founding father. Sorry. Was a founding father, participated in the American Revolution, of course, had a whole musical written about him many years, just recently. But yes, died in a famous duel. So let's see. I am closer to Aaron Burr, but again, cousins to both. So I've got I preloaded my mark points there. So how are you folks doing?
Well, I am exactly the same as you, Greg.
Okay.
I'm closer to Burr and cousins to both.
Okay. Same. Megs, you're talking, but I can't hear you.
Sorry. Aaron Burr.
Aaron Burr. Okay. Cousins to both?
Yep.
Okay. I think this is what Sandy was talking about. Lots of Appalachian roots, lots of connections. Okay. And I see people are voting. Looks like a lot of Burr.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So birth dates and these are all New York, USA. Well, that's oh well. Here's okay. They're going to get points for that. Dates and locations. They have dates and locations. I'm guessing all these profiles are going to have dates and locations. Maybe that was a boring thing.
I think the people in the chat are cold because they're all going.
Oh, they're all. But okay. Let's see. He's only got 2 brothers, Burr, and 3 children. Let's see. Okay. Oh, it's close. 17 to 20 points. Hamilton's ahead, but if we add the YouTube viewers,
well, no one who's viewing now is closer to Hamilton. Everybody said Aaron Burr.
Really?
Oh, wait, no, John Tyner just said, okay, 15 to 1.
15 to 1. Well, YouTubers, I'm glad you came because you tipped the scales. Burr wins this challenge, this combat. Okay. And I think Megs had a comment, but
and it's appropriate. Burr.
Burr. Yes, today it is. Okay, next we have the OK Corral with Wyatt Earp versus Ike Clanton. So, of course, Wyatt Earp, born in 1848 in Illinois, was a gambler and deputy sheriff, and then deputy marshal from Tombstone, Arizona, where, of course, the gunfight at the OK Corral took place. And again, it's quite a nice profile here. And then like Clanton, from the Clanton boys, he has a fairly short profile, but it talks the little biography shared from a Find a Grave member, which is an interesting place to get, was that he was a member of the cowboy faction in Tombstone, an enemy of the Earp boys and Doc Holliday. And one fateful morning, got up drunk and angry and said he was going to kill the Earps. That was a big mistake. But he ended up escaping. He escaped from the OK Corral, but then he got caught somewhere else, and the sheriff's pistol fired. And I like how it ended. Ike, like his brother and father, died of lead poisoning. I think he means by the sudden introduction of lead into his body.
I am a Clanton, and he is my 5th cousin.
Ooh, nice. And I am equally distant from both of them, but I'm a cousin to the Clanton and not to the Earp. That's interesting.
Betsy, okay, do you have a chance to look at that? Let me see.
Yep. I am closer to Earp, but I'm cousins with Clanton.
Yeah, okay. You and I have a lot of connections.
Mm-hmm.
You notice that, Betsy?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's see. Dates and places. So he gets the points for the dates and places. Ooh. So either Clanton did not get married, or his marriage isn't. Or his marriage isn't recognized here. So Earp gets 6 points. Clanton only gets 4 points for the birth marriage dates. He has 11 in that family, 8 in the other family. And children, one unnamed infant. Oh, this was sad. I think his wife and, is this the one where the wife and daughter died shortly after birth? Yeah, that's right. That's very sad. Okay. And how are our YouTube viewers doing?
I'm on I'm looking at the last one.
Sorry, I'm making you work so hard, Betsy.
No, I'm barely keeping up. Okay, so it's closer here. It's a little more split out, but Earp does win.
Earp wins. Okay.
Earp wins. Yep.
What's the score?
10 to 5.
10 to 5. Okay. And Earp wins the combat. Okay. Welcome, Patricia. We're doing if you're new, if you just joined us, we're doing roundup combat. So I want you to tell me whether you're closer to Mary Queen of Scots or Queen Elizabeth I, because those are our next pair of combatants. And I know we've talked about these two before, and the war and the crown and all that. Of course, Mary Queen of Scots became Queen of Scotland when her father passed away when she was a wee one. 42, like basically just a few days after she was born, she became officially the Queen of Scotland. And then, of course, later on, there was the question of whether she could become Queen of England as well. She was briefly consort Queen of France, even, from her first husband. Elizabeth Tudor, of course, one of the daughters of Henry VIII, and Anne Boleyn. Anne Boleyn was her mother, and she became queen after her half-sister Mary I. But in the end, Elizabeth did have Mary beheaded. So
I have an interesting little thing here. I am 18 degrees from Mary, Queen of Scots, and I am her 5th cousin.
Ooh.
And Elizabeth Tudor, I'm 19 degrees from her, but she is my 3rd cousin.
3rd cousin. Wow.
That's why when I go into Starbucks to get a cup of coffee, I get them to write Your Highness on the cup.
That's good. I love it. That's amazing.
They yell, Your Highness.
Your Highness.
Your coffee.
Right. That's right. Well, I'm surprised I'm 7th and 8th. Like, that's closer than I am to almost most of the people in the profiles. But okay. So you were closer to Mary Queen of Scots. Is that what you said?
By connection, but
by
I'm
connection,
closer to Elizabeth Tudor by blood.
Right. Yes. And we're counting.
Which makes sense because they were cousins.
They were cousins. Yeah, it makes sense that you're close.
You said cousins Southern. Did you hear
So, did I say cousins?
Standing downright Appalachian.
Betsy, which one are you closer to?
I am, even though I was sort of named for Elizabeth, yes. I am closer to Mary, Queen of Scots, and I am cousin to both.
Cousin to both. Okay, there we go. Very cool. Okay, so Mary Queen of Scots there's 12 in her family. Wow. And I didn't do the name there. Of course, they have names and dates and places. Elizabeth I will not have a marriage date or place, will she?
No, the Virgin Queen.
So she loses points for that. Not her fault, but
yeah, interesting.
If you'd asked people at her court, they would have said it was her fault.
Well, yeah, that's right. I mean, she could have chosen, I suppose. There we go. Okay, well, we'll see what the YouTubers say, because right now it's looking like Mary Queen of Scots has a good lead here.
Yep. Let's see. I've caught up to. Okay, so overwhelmingly, Mary Queen of Scots, 21-5.
Wow.
You know what? If Elizabeth had married, that would have helped the connection path.
That's right. You're right. It was her fault.
That's what I meant when I said.
Well, you know what? Yeah, she did order her deaths, Mary Queen of Scots' death. So she has to pay some penalty. So losing this combat is her penalty for that.
Seems fair.
Seems fair. And the final combat is artistic in nature. It's Vincent van Gogh versus Paul Gauguin. I think they're both great artists. Vincent has, of course, a tragic tale. He was a wonderful artist, but was never appreciated during his life. Suffered from depression, and ended his life tragically.
I'm such a weirdo geek. Yeah. I watched a documentary the other day about trying to identify how much of his ear he actually cut off.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. It was fascinating to watch, because the researcher had to go through and travel all over the world to try and find things. She found a document by the doctor who treated him, who did a diagram of how much he had cut off. And it was the whole thing.
The whole thing,
The whole thing.
Yeah. I mean, look at this. These are beautiful. Oh, look at this little mini starry sky to put in an aquarium. How cool is that? And
it's interesting that you pick Gauguin to be the match here, because they were friends. They actually lived together.
Yeah.
Right before he committed suicide. Gauguin was a part of the reason the man committed suicide.
Yeah. Yeah. It's because now his profile is very tiny, which is surprising on WikiTree. Because now I'm sure he has a wonderful entry on Wikipedia, but WikiTree, his profile is fairly tiny, which is interesting, and just a couple pictures here. But they were friends right up until. But Gauguin was popular in his time, and one of the things in Van Gogh, his profile, Van Gogh, right? That's the best.
Depends on where you live. It's Van Gogh if you're over in Europe, and that's how he called himself.
But his brother, who was an art dealer, was trying to get him to paint in brighter colors. So like this is his first one that he was really famous for, this dark one here. He said he wanted brighter colors, and that's what what Gauguin was using and stuff. So anyways, it's a very sad story, but it's an interesting face-off to our style. So who are you closer to, Van Gogh or Gauguin?
Gauguin.
Gauguin?
21 degrees, not related.
Not related.
I'm not related to either, but I'm closer to Gauguin.
And I'm waiting to hear if you're related, Greg.
I am not related.
That surprises me.
I know. With Gauguin, like you would think there'd be a French connection there. The Dutch, I'm not surprised that I'm not connected there, because I know of no Dutch connection in my background. But I am surprised that there's no French connection. Let's see, what do we have? We have dates and places for birth and marriage for Gauguin, dates and places for birth and death, but no marriage for Van Gogh. So there we go.
We have a correction on our, it should be Fungoff.
Van Gogh?
Yeah.
Fun.
That's from Oliver Stegen.
Oh, right. The V is more like an F.
Yeah, Fungoff.
Okay. And he has 6 in his family, no children, and no siblings listed for Gauguin, but he does have 4 children. So there we go. So yeah, it's pretty tight. Could be anyone's race. Depends on who's related to who.
Are you ready? So
I'm ready.
Yeah, Gauguin got 20. Yoke said that he was the only one closest to Van Gogh, but there are actually 4 people.
Okay.
To Van Gogh in this race, this horse race.
And of course, Chris Ferriello is pointing out that there is a Doctor Who, one of the best episodes ever, about Vincent and the Doctor.
Yes, that was a classic. It's a great one. Yeah.
I'm going to have to go find that one. I haven't seen it.
And the nice thing about that one is you can watch that like totally not knowing anything else about Doctor Who. There's not much else connection to it. So like you could just go watch it and just appreciate for the Vincent Van Gogh part.
So Betsy had to go and put her hand in ice from writing so furiously.
Oh, I'm sorry. Anyway, there we are. I thought.
Did you hear what I said, Betsy?
I did. It's okay. I'll just shake it out.
Shake it out.
Oh, that sounds like a song.
That's right. Shake it out. Anyways, there's your roundup for today. Your combat roundup for today. So
ooh, that was fun, Greg.
That was fun, Greg.
I thought it would do something a little different, and
yeah,
let the profiles fight for themselves on their merits.
Yes, that was great.
So we have a new set of photos. The January theme is grandparents. So there's only one that's not duplicated. So I'm just going to go to the free space page, and this is my photo, which I picked for Mags.
Oh, cute!
Because of the car, and I thought you would have fun telling us about the car.
Well, it's a rumble seat back there at the back where you could jump in the very, very back. Unfortunately, it was never undercover, so if you were in the rumble seat, you would get wet if it started raining. But that's a fun car. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's beautiful. And it reminds me of my dad's picture of him sitting on the running board of my grandfather's truck when he was in the flight suit.
Oh,
that's so cool. I love it.
Yeah. So these are my grandparents, and this was their honeymoon. So that would put this photo in 1928. Yep. So
very nice.
Yeah, her outfit.
I
wonder if this was their wedding picture because she's wearing a corsage.
That's right. She is.
Yep. It looks very similar to my grandmother's wedding pictures when she was in her travel suit.
After
the wedding.
Yes.
I had not noticed these corsage.
Their wedding rings.
I always admired her hat, and Yeah.
I don't see a wedding ring. Do we see a wedding ring in that? It's hard to see.
Maybe here. Maybe. It's hard to say. Can't really see on his hand. So, yeah.
Yeah, because his ring hand is
around, sort of tucked around.
Oh yeah, there it is. Oh yeah. Hard to say.
But yeah. Okay, and we had some real nice ones over on the G2G post. So this is contributed by Yoke, and these are her grandparents standing in back here. They are. This is the occasion of their 40th wedding anniversary, and the lady these are their 3 daughters, and that's Yoke's mother in the middle.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Yeah. And if we remember that Yoke posted a photo of herself as a little girl with that blonde hair. So you can see where that came from.
Family resemblance.
Yep, exactly.
Nice.
So, next we have this one. And this was contributed by M. Ross. And these are her great grandparents on dad's maternal branch. They were married in 1888 in Staffordshire. They had 11 children between 1888 and 1902, which is when Samuel sadly died unexpectedly, age 35.
I was expecting you to say that it was the wife.
Yeah.
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 11 kids.
Woo. Kids. So the youngest 2 children were born on 1901 and 1902. So they were really little. And she said it's always been a game to try and guess how many more children they would have had if he had not died.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
So
was he alive when his last child was born, or did his death predecease?
Let's see. I don't have a date. Yeah. The youngest child was born on May 20th, 1902, but I didn't look up his death date. That's a good question. Yeah. Okay. Then Karen Carter contributed this photo of her maternal grandparents. And she said she's using the Danish names for grandmother and grandfather. So her morfar, which is Danish for mother's father, she never had a chance to meet him because he passed away before she died. But she did meet more a few times, but not too often because they lived, they were separated by an ocean. But she remembers her as a wonderful lady, willing to play board games and cards with me. And she believes that this photo was taken the year that Gunnar passed away.
Wow.
Yeah. Here we have from Alexis. There's Alexis.
Oh, baby Alexis.
Center stage. Baby Alexis. This is a 1946 photo of her paternal grandparents, Pearl and C.A. Lovelace. Her mother's holding her, and they had just moved to Oregon to live with them. She says, my grandmother was not much of a moviegoer, but she would take me to see Ma and Pa Kettle movies.
I love old Ma and Pa Kettle.
Yeah. And she would laugh and laugh. I love this photo of her looking as though she's been working and he's relaxing wearing a suit. So he does look very, very comfortable, very relaxed. I think this is maybe a few more. This was contributed by Karen Stewart. And here we have her maternal grandparents, Walter Dallas Martin and Ella K. Cutright Martin, their 50th wedding anniversary. Nice, beautiful cake there. This is, I'm going to see if I can make this a little bigger so you can see the detail on this. How's that?
Nice.
Yeah. Okay. So this is contributed by Deborah Campbell. maternal great grandparents. And there was, conversation back and forth in the posts about the name. Do you have names? And Deborah did have quite a few of the names. So, and there was a seventh child who was not included in the photograph, maybe not born yet. Now Pat Miller, let me come back. Pat Miller gave us this amazing photo of her maternal grandmother, Mary Christine Luke.
How could she even walk with that hat on her head?
Really?
You know what it looks like? It looks like it's a box of chocolates. Maybe it is a box of chocolates.
Or go through doors even.
Yeah. So Pat never met her, but she died of a heart attack while washing the dishes in November.
I thought you were going to say while walking with that.
Yeah, that's right.
No.
Her
November
neck muscles.
1936. As a young woman, she loved wearing hats, a family trait, it seems, as Mom loved wearing hats and I loved wearing hats. Here's Mary wearing one of her hats. So beautiful. Love that. And then here we have a picture from Vicky Blanco.
Nice.
So this is a beautiful story. The lovely couple in this colorized photo are my great-grandparents, Willy Borchers, a German merchant sailor, and Luz Antonia Gonzalez, the Chilean lady who became his last port. They met in Antofagasta, Chile, when his vessel, the Carl, was detained. Photo around 1930. So,
that he's glad that ship got detained.
Exactly. It was fate.
Yeah.
So, so just a reminder, we do not have a live cast next week because of Connectathon, although there will be
lots of casts.
Hangouts for 4 hours. So you shouldn't feel deprived at all. But we won't be doing picture of photo of the month and the usual themes. So that means that January 27th is our next opportunity. Keep sending in those pictures so that grandparents is the theme. We would love to see your grandparents. So we do have 5 ancestors to celebrate, starting with Maxine Barnes Johnson. We had a number of January 1 New Year's Day babies. So let's see, Maxine was one of these babies. And the photo, and I always like the photos, is it's just a thumbnail because of privacy issues. So let me make it a little bigger there.
There we go.
Yeah, there's Maxine. And she was born and raised in Tennessee. And as an adult, she spent her married life in Phoenix. She was a horsewoman and a teacher. And let's see, this is Leanne Deere's grandmother. And she writes, in her youth, she was trained to ride Tennessee walkers at her grandfather's farm in that state. But one day her brother brought home a dashing young man whom he met while working out west, and 26-year-old Maxine was hooked. So in 1926, she left Tennessee for Arizona, where she lived the remainder of her long life. She had substituted Tennessee walkers for quarter horses, but she never swapped my grandfather for anyone else. So, and given I'm doing the math there, she was born in 1901. I thought that would have been so neat if it was January 1 of 1900.
Yeah. But still, 010101 is pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that.
Yep. And I see that Oliver is in the chat.
Yes.
Yes. And I'm glad you made it, Oliver. This is Oliver's 9th great grandfather, Rupert. And so I thought it was I mean, so satisfying to see. Who wouldn't want to see something like this, right?
Nice.
Green, 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 all the way back to your 9th grandfather. And he's actually gone a little farther back than that. And so he's from Germany, and he was born also January 1. And we have on the profile, fun fact, on Rupert's 357th birthday, his 11th great-grandson, Noah, was born.
Oh,
so
that's nice.
9th great-grandfather and grandsons share the same birthday. Yeah, very special. Now moving to Elizabeth. Elizabeth was the let me share the tab. There we go. Elizabeth was the sister of Ruth Jowett, and her birthday is January 28th. So she would have been 61 this coming week. She was had a very exemplary career of service and giving back to the community. She lived her adult life in London. She was a legal librarian, and she also served as I'm adopting what we would call it in the United States. She was an EMT, an emergency medical technician, I think, with St. John Ambulance. So that we have a nice crest here of the St. John Ambulance.
Nice.
And she was a member of the team providing first aid cover at many cultural and sporting events, and also volunteered at international events. And then she was also granted the freedom of the City of London. And I did read up on this a little bit. It's a very long-standing honor, going back to 1237. And of course, it's adapted and changed with the times. But it designates a free person with right to trade. I'm sure that the contemporary nuances are different, but it sounded like a very significant and special honor. So sadly, she died way too young in 2011. Now let's see. So this is, she went by Jeanette, but her name is Maria Regina Lamontagne. Greg, am I right?
Lamontagne.
Lamontagne.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. This was contributed or suggested by M. Hutt, another New Year's Day baby, 1904, January 1. And she married M's Uncle Walter. And M's mother was the youngest child in the family, and she was the flower girl at the wedding. M thinks there's a photo somewhere, so she needs to find it, and I agree. And she said, to honor Jeanette, I connected her to her Quebecois ancestors. And during her research, she found untouched profiles from 2011 profiles created by Mary Tweedy. And reached out to her. She was very excited and found that sadly that Mary had passed. But she also in the project.
Knew that.
So you knew her?
Yeah.
Oh.
I tried to find Mary this morning and I couldn't. So okay, yeah. M wanted to honor not just Jeanette but also Mary.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And our last ancestor, again, I hope we'll have more to celebrate.
There is no last ancestor.
There's always more to find.
Our last January
that we're celebrating today.
Celebration of an ancestor is Britta Dedrick. And this is Susie McLeod's first cousin. So she was born January 3rd in Virginia. She worked in Head Start which if you're in education, you know that's, or you have children, that's a very wonderful program that helps preschool aged children be prepared for their formal education. And then eventually she moved to Oregon, converted to Judaism, and met her life partner there, Tim. Susie, who wrote her bio, writes that she loved the environment and people. She died from complications from breast cancer, and was notably extremely knowledgeable, passionate, and articulate around the disease, and was very open to sharing that with providers, medical providers, and fellow breast cancer battlers. And she always signed off her name just as B, with a little drawing of a bee.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was lovely. So thank you so much to everybody who sent those in, and we'd love to celebrate a few more. And I'll just close with a tip. In light of Connect-a-thon coming up. Mm-hmm. This is something I talked about in the Rock presentation, but I want to make sure that everybody does it. Okay, so first of all, I hope everybody has the WikiTree browser extension, because it's a game changer. It's just amazing. And then you want to enable this new feature, which is the CC7 changes. And, up until now, we might see a change in our CC7 and think, well, I didn't do it. What happened? And there wouldn't be any way to figure out, any easy way to figure out where those changes, how your number had been bumped up. So now there's a way to do it. So you have to go in the browser extension features, go to navigation, and then under find menu, just enable CC7. Now I'm going to show you what happens, what that's going to look like. I'm going to now go to my profile. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to, everybody close your eyes. Close your eyes. I'm scrolling, and I'll tell you when I'm done. I'm done. Okay. So here we are. Under find, it's right at the top, CC7 changes. So when I click on it, now the first time you do this, it's going to have to do a baseline for you just to see where you are. And then subsequent times, it will tell you your most little waving trees, my most recent changes. So I can, then I can go and see why happened. I added these, so I know. But, if these are names you don't know, you can look up and see who was adding them and maybe find a new cousin. So there's bound to be some changes in CC7 coming up with Connect-a-thon. So make sure you have that feature enabled.
You wanted to know if it was the same on the iPad.
Should be.
Greg, you're muted because you were handling Finnegan, who was going in and out and in and out.
That's right. Yes, I believe it would be, because Ian's doing a great job of keeping the extension working on Safari. You have to use Safari on an iPad for the extension.
Right. Right.
But I believe that it will work the same.
While we're talking, I'll check it out.
Mm-hmm.
And Susie Carta says it works on hers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great.
That's
great.
good.
Yeah.
Got some things coming up here soon. We've got what's ahead for WikiTree in 2024, talking about the whole year. Lots of stuff coming up. At one of the big items on the list is the WikiTree redesign. That's coming up. It's going to be a big change. It's going to be something to have to kind of learn how to do again, but WikiTree will stay the same. It's just going to be a different portal to come into it. So you're going to have a brighter, newer, fresher look. There you go. That's a big one. Redesigning the huge 15-year-old community-driven site is a major undertaking. Before the design locks down in the next couple of weeks, we're hoping to go through the pre-1700 quiz, a batch of minor search and matching improvements. Images on profiles will display in a slide show. Woo-hoo. Significant policy and technical changes. Let's see. Significant search improvements, connections, core and tech apps. They're going to devise a means for tracking completeness. So if you want to read the whole article, do it. It's a great article, so check that out. We're going to bump over to Az's wonderful work really quickly. She's got a great way to share some of the stuff coming up. Fairmont Cemetery, Raton, New Mexico is the cemetery spotlight. Question of the week for next week. We won't be talking about the question of the week, as Betsy has already mentioned. We will not have a regular live cast, but we will be around at 8 a.m., at 12 p.m., on and off. Betsy, Greg, and I will be in and out of those wonderful live casts as we do the Connect-a-thon. What is it? Dias is the one name Tuesday. Raton, New Mexico, or Raton, New Mexico. Don't know how to pronounce that one. Connect-a-thon, the event showcase. You can check that out. If you want to share about this stuff, if you were a fan of John Denver when you were a young person, or Deutschendorf, that's a great name for John Denver. You can check out all of the great links and information in the social media tab on the ambassadors page, the project page, to be able to get to that information. Share the love, and we will see you next Friday morning at 8 a.m. for me to kick
Eastern time.
Eastern time. And we will be on and off all weekend. So we look forward to seeing you people. Have a great week.
See ya.